I'm Jane Wilson, and in 2014, we bought the property here. We were living in Pennsylvania, my husband Elliot and myself, but my daughter and my grandson and her husband are living up here in Ottawa area. So of course, being a typical grandmother, I actually got to convince my husband that living in Canada in the cold north was not a bad idea. What I promised him was that we would build a house that would make him happy even in the middle of the winter. And as an architect who has always been trying to design more sustainably, we set on building on the passive house standard. Hi, come on in. We started to build this. It was built in 2015. And the idea, the concept behind the house was that my husband and I, in getting older, wanted to have a simple place to live, easy to maintain, easy to take care of. And I think that we got what we wanted. We took a number of ideas from the time that we've been traveling and the time we've been camping to make things nice and simple. So as you can see, we have exposed beams and plain plank floors on the upper floor. We can live totally on the first floor, and that's so that we can stay here, many more decades. The open concept, we wanted to have it relatively simple. I like open concept, but I don't like to have a lot of appliances with you when you're sitting down and talking to friends and whatnot. So we did put a pantry with the refrigerator around the corner, and that sort of helps to eliminate the need for a lot of cabinetry and keeps the open space a little bit more simple. The house has an angle to it, that front angle. And it's funny, a lot of people when they come in, they don't notice it in the beginning. But we did it so that we're facing directly south. And it also visually allows the space to open up a little bit more, even if it is very subtle. We've got a beautiful private view here, so we can have a little bit of garden. We have a wildflower field outside. We feel very connected with the outside of the house. So it really is a beautiful place to live. We feel, even though we're quite close to the center of Ottawa, we feel like we're in our own sort of garden area. After the construction, we recycled a lot of the old beams that were left over to make furniture, and that was sort of the fun part of the project. We have the concrete countertops. We worked with the same person that Casey had worked with before, and that was a wonderful experience, being able to choose what the countertops look like and then having them fabricated on that. Many of the walls, we had them build that out to thicker walls so that we could put cabinetry and shelving directly into the walls, and that helped to eliminate the need for a lot of furniture. And the same for the open shelves for the kitchen. We simplified the heating and cooling of the house through having 2 mini splits, but we do have it supplemented by a wood stove that's specifically made to work with passive houses. So that means that it actually brings the air in from the outside rather than taking the air to combust the wood from the inside. It's a European model and extremely efficient and very clean. So it gives that little glow in the wintertime, in the evening, which we quite enjoy. That being said, rather than burning multiple cords of wood during the winter. We burn just over a cord of wood, and that's relatively minimal for our climate. Like I said, one of the things that I enjoyed working with Casey is that he didn't look at us as weird when we had particular things that we wanted to do. So for instance, we only have 3 doors in the house. We don't have a door to the bedroom. It's my husband and I. We don't need a lot of doors. We appreciated the fact that that was taken in his stride. I consider our curtains to be the maple trees out there. And so in the winter, when the leaves aren't there, we get the sun that we want to have in to give that added heat to the house. And in the summer, when the leaves are there, you know, we have the beautiful trees to look at. So, you know, I like the clean look, and I'm happy not to have any curtains to clean or to pull shut or anything. And if someone wants to walk through the woods to look at us getting dressed, then they can do that. They might break their legs actually going through those woods, so they'll see if that's worth it. The 3 doors that we do have are for the bathrooms. We have 2 bathrooms, and in this bathroom we call it really the washing room, because we can enter directly from the garage. Let's say we're playing tennis, take off our clothes, put it in the washer, take a shower, and get dressed. We have simple closets here. But having a passive house, contrarily to a normal house where a bathroom area is considered a wet area, in a passive house, things stay dry. So you can work things a little bit more differently and more efficiently than you might do in a standard normal house. We've gotten quite used to living this way, and don't think I would go back to living another way. One thing that I find with Canadian houses is they don't have enough space when you enter the house. And we end up having shoes and guests sort of falling over trying to put on their boots when they leave the house. So we have a nice big place with a good solid bench, cubbies for hats and mittens and all that stuff, plenty of space for coats. Also a place to put keys and other things. Okay, so we, as people who are hopefully aging gracefully, if it ever comes to the point, we can live totally on the first floor. And we're happy with that. But upstairs, we have both guest room and our offices. So if we want to go up there. Go into the guest room, and this is also, I made it a little bit larger than one might normally have a guest room, so that we can do yoga and that sort of thing in the winter and have that little extra space if I want to do sewing or whatever. I tried to make it a guest room in my designs such that it's really comfortable for the guests, but not too comfortable. And one of the ways that we did that with this room was that, 1, we don't have a door. 2, though I have the light coming through the house here, We also have shutters so that when the guests are here, they can have a little bit of privacy. So we can close them when the guests need privacy, but they're open most of the time when we're here by ourselves. We have both of our offices here. My office is there. I always say you get what you deserve, so I get the larger space, and my husband gets a more confined space. He collects 78 records and buys and sells them on eBay, so I have to keep him contained. So this space does that immediately. We have our guest bath here, which has the bathtub and whatever. When I'm working, I think that one of the main problems is that it's so comfortable in being able to look out at the woods and stuff. If it's a sunny day, I do sometimes have a hard time staying at my desk, and I want to get up and go out for a walk. But that's fine because I work for myself. Here is also just a little place for when my grandson comes, he can sit and draw and play with Legos and do things like that. So it's all open, the space, and that works really well for us as two people with guests that come occasionally. We have this is actually the upstairs mini split. The mini splits are very efficient. They're very easy to use, and we enjoy being able to program them. We enjoy the fact that in the house, the temperature stays relatively consistent throughout the house. So it's a lovely atmosphere to live in, both in the winter and also in the summer. It's very efficient to cool the house. So when everybody else is either suffering or having an air conditioner run continually, the air conditioner might go on for a few minutes and then it stays cool for the rest of the day. This is the mechanical room of the house. And so we have our ERV here, we have the electrical box, and we have the heat pump water heater. And that helps by using the warmer air in the house. That helps in the summer to cool the house down a little bit. A lot of people have asked why to have a mechanical room upstairs. Well, we are quite near the flood zone of the Rideau River, so having these upstairs, if we had a major flood, these would not be damaged and we would be able to just keep on going when the water subsided. The ERV is very easy to take care of. Every couple of months, we take out the filters, give them a wash, and put them back in. So it filters that air. I used to suffer from allergies in the spring, and that's no longer a problem. The air is filtered, and it reduces the pollen in the house. One of the things that we did in terms of using the landscape around the house was to make sure that snow plowing was easy. We only have to shovel a little bit in front of the door. Everything else is done by the snowplow. We have an eco lawn, where the grass only grows to about this height and only needs to be cut twice a year. So again, we're saving a lot of energy by not having to constantly mow the lawn. And then we have our wildflower meadow. Underneath the wildflower meadow is the septic bed for the house. And it was quite good because I positioned that to the south, so that's where we actually cut down the trees. And that provides, in the winter, good sunlight to come in on the south side. The main points of building the house here, building to passive house standards allows my husband and I, as older people, to be able to have low operating costs and some control over our expenditure as we age. The other part of that was building so that there was virtually no maintenance, both in the siding that we chose, so we have the corrugated metal siding, and the metal roof, again keeping things as simple and well protected as possible. The other week when we had the tornado come nearby, I could, one, feel so secure that the house was solidly built. I knew that they had taken the care and everything was totally tight. And it was with the windows being the triple pane, and in this case they're also tempered windows. That was also very reassuring. In terms of what we do in the design of the site with the house, also to have a driveway that can be easily plowed in the winter and have relatively little for us old folks to have to shovel when we do have a snowfall. So we really just shovel in front of the door. But most of the work is done by the snowplow. I love to have flowers. It's a little bit late in the year for the flowers, but I wanted to make them so that they were fairly minimal. I can weed things in an hour and a half, and that's all it takes. The lawn, as I said, is called an eco lawn, and the grass only grows to about this height. And then twice a year, usually at the end of June and also at the end of the fall, we cut it so that it gets a little bit of a trim look. But that saves a lot in terms of energy consumption and also headache and time. All throughout the summer, the different flowers come out, different colors, and it makes it really beautiful to look at. I like the metal siding because, one, it's easy to maintain, but also you can get some nice, vibrant colors. And I think I've always loved red houses. They're very rural. In many northern countries, like in Sweden, you have a lot of red houses and also red barns. And that was really part of the design concept to move towards that concept of the simpler life. I'm Jane Wilson. Thank you for coming in and exploring our house. It's a wonderful place to live, and if you are ever looking for an architect, my website is ejwarchitect.com, and I'm in Manotick, and look forward to meeting you.